You've probably never thought a few edited words in a telegram could create an entire country. In 1870, that's exactly what happened. This is the story of the Ems Dispatch, and how one man's red pen helped build modern Germany. Let's back up first. In the mid-1800s, Germany wasn't really a country. It was a patchwork of more than 30 independent states, kingdoms, and free cities, all speaking German, all sharing culture, but politically divided. The largest and most powerful of these states was Prussia. Leading Prussia was a man named Otto von Bismarck, its minister-president. Bismarck had one clear goal: unite the German states into a single empire, with Prussia at the head. But you can't just declare unity. Something has to force it. And Bismarck understood something most politicians of his era didn't. Sometimes a common enemy does more to unite people than any speech ever could. That enemy, Bismarck decided, would be France. In the summer of 1870, tension was already building between Prussia and France over who should sit on the vacant Spanish throne. A Prussian prince had been offered the crown, and France, worried about being surrounded by Prussian influence, objected strongly. The Prussian king, Wilhelm I, was staying at a spa town called Bad Ems. There, the French ambassador approached him directly, asking Wilhelm to promise formally and permanently that no Prussian would ever seek the Spanish throne again. Wilhelm politely declined the demand, but stayed diplomatic about it. He then had his aide send a routine telegram back to Berlin, summarizing the exchange for Bismarck. The historian Jonathan Steinberg, who has written extensively on Bismarck's career, describes what happened next as one of the most consequential edits in modern history. Bismarck read the telegram, and then he rewrote it. He didn't add false information. He didn't invent quotes. He simply cut the message down, removing the polite, diplomatic phrasing and sharpening the tone until it read like the king had dismissed the French ambassador rudely and abruptly. Then he released this edited version to the press. In Germany, the shortened telegram read like a proud king standing firm against French pressure. In France, it read like a deliberate insult to their ambassador and their nation. Both publics reacted almost instantly, and both reactions were exactly what Bismarck wanted. Within days, French public opinion, already tense, exploded into outrage. Politicians who had been cautious about war suddenly faced enormous pressure to respond. On July 19, 1870, France declared war on Prussia. Bismarck hadn't lied. He had simply cut a sentence in just the right place and let human nature do the rest. What followed was the Franco-Prussian War, and it did not go the way France expected. Prussian forces, better organized and better prepared, defeated the French decisively within months. Napoleon III, the French emperor, was captured. Paris was besieged. But here's the part that matters most for this story. As German troops advanced together, as southern German states that had previously stayed independent joined the fight alongside Prussia, something shifted. They weren't just soldiers from separate kingdoms anymore. They were starting to see themselves as one people, facing one enemy, fighting one war. In January 1871, in the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace of Versailles, of all places, the German Empire was formally declared. King Wilhelm of Prussia became Emperor Wilhelm of a united Germany. A war that began with a few edited sentences had ended with an entirely new country on the map of Europe. Which brings you to something worth sitting with. You probably think of national identity as something ancient, something that's always simply existed, but Germany wasn't inevitable. It was engineered, carefully, deliberately, through timing, propaganda, and a war that didn't have to happen the way it did. Bismarck didn't create German nationalism out of nothing. It already existed as a feeling, but it took a war and a rewritten telegram to turn that feeling into a flag, an army, and a nation. You've probably never thought a few edited words could create a country. Now you know exactly how it happened.